Hi, this is Laura from The Yarn Closet in Tucson, Arizona. I'm going to be doing this week's podcast in a few itsy bitsy bits. I know I have this weird little spot on my forehead, kid scratches and blind ladiness. It'll be gone in a while. Yarn Closet AZ on Instagram. The Yarn Closet blog over on Patreon. You can follow for free or become a patron. You'll be eligible for quarterly gifts. And today we are going to talk about the sweater that I told you I wanted to cast on. The Willard by Alicia Plummer. I think the small Willard is on sale, like the kid size, her daughter's size, the middle kid size, I don't know. So as we discussed, I'm doing this in Merino Sport from Stranded Dye Works Favorite Ice Cream. It's like a mint color with greens, speckles, and there's a little bit of blue in here, which I think is kind of fun. And then I've got this, it's like the same yardage and stuff, Sport-ish from Simply Socks. It's Millville. And this has a little bit of nylon in it. So they feel a bit different. This isn't quite as soft, but it's a little bit plumper. I made some small swatches. I'm not great at the big swatch. Okay. So we're going with the 5mm because I actually got the worsted weight gauge, 18 stitches per inch with this Sport on the same needle size as it said in the pattern. So I decided to go for it. I like the fabric from this one down here a little bit more than the fabric from this one up here. That comes in handy in a moment. Is the cup under there? So then I did a swatch of the Millville. I don't love it on the 5mm. What I came up with in this Stranded with the 5mm is definitely okay. It's just a bit tighter. Thank you, honey. Mm-hmm. This is just a bit looser. So, I mean, what do you think? What do you think? Because what I'm thinking is the light green and then a smattering in the middle of some color work with that Millville to give it some extra length, and then more of the light green. Because otherwise I get bored in the body. I get bored. I love the idea of color work at the hemline also, but that's a long time to wait. Now, remember how I said I was going to actually like follow a pattern? Dun dun dun. Now this is a top-down raglan. The pattern is written to have some kind of a like turtleneck that's very cowl-like with an I-cord so you can tighten it up. I'm not doing that. I followed the pattern. I do think in the pattern, I do think the way that this is going to end up, it's going to be a little bit too loose for me. Like I would want to wear a tank top under it, and the whole point is to have something that's lightweight but a little bit warm because of all the cold air conditioning we deal with. Okay? So in the beginning, in the first few rows, she has you do some interesting shaping, as you can tell, some interesting shaping to kind of help build up the back. Now, the way it was done was very, very easy. I will definitely do this again in the future. Very easy. However, it did give you a little bit of a shaping in the front, that this is a slight, like a slight V in there. So I'm assuming when you add the cowl on at the end, you kind of fill that in. I don't know. I'm never going to know. I'm not going to do it. But at the beginning, there were some make ones, which I'm not very good at. So they sucked. Sucked. And then it was yarn over increases. However, I learned a trick in this pattern that if you knit through the back loops, you can close those yarn overs. I never knew that before. That's why you should read a pattern and try to actually knit a pattern once in a while. So I love that. That is so easy to do the yarn overs and knit through the back. I love that. I'm going to do that all the time now. I hate make ones. Hate them. So that's what I'm going to do. What I ended up doing, because I was having a challenge in so many areas, is I just decided to knit to this point to see what I got, to be able to try it on and see if it was kind of balanced on me. And I wanted to try a couple other things. Just for me to get an idea of technique. Because as hard as it is to do this, and sad, I mean, I've got a lot of rows here. 60 rows, you know, I've got a lot of knitting here. Oddly enough, though, it went kind of fast. What I am going to do is I'm going to frog it. Okay? I'm going to frog it. Here, I'll try to keep my head to block the skylight. Otherwise, it'll be like the angels are singing. And really, it's just Magnus. So I'm going to frog it. And instead of doing this increase that gives you this bit of an open neckline, I kind of thought with the t-shirt deal that I'd kind of like that. And it's not bad, and I will use it in the future. But for right now, what I'm going to do is I'm just gonna cast on the right number of stitches here and do my increases, have a rolled neck, very, very simple. And go from there. But before I ripped it out, I wanted to show you that, you know, I make mistakes too, and then I work for a long time thinking, can I live with it? Is there some way for me to fix it? I knew that if I tried to sew these up, I just wouldn't be happy because I'm really feeling this rolled neckline. That's not t-shirt-like, but I don't know. It's some kind of t-shirt-like. I'm from the days of flash dance. But I'm going to redo it. I do like the way that the yarn is working up. It doesn't seem to be pooling. And I don't have to alternate skeins if I do that other color swash in the middle. Because I can gain a few inches that way. But then my two speckled skeins are separated enough that I don't think there's going to be any issues. I could be entirely wrong. Who knows? It could look awful. I could hate it. Why so often when we finish something for ourselves do we not like it? Why? I want the IKEA effect in my knitting. You know the IKEA effect? That if you build your own furniture and it's not perfect, you're still going to use it and love it. But if you pay the guy from IKEA to fix it and it's not exactly right, you're going to be pissed. The IKEA effect. Okay. So I'm going to frog this, and then the next time we chat about it, I will be back to this point or a little bit further. Have a great day. Hello from the Yarn Closet in Tucson, Arizona. I'm Laura. I told you this week would be a bunch of little snippets because I am attacking my Willard sweater in sport weight yarn.
Yeah, sport yarn.
Put your hands down.
When can I talk to you?
When I tell you to. See this chunk of wound up stuff? That's from what I unwound yesterday, frogged out yesterday. And that amount had gone together so fast, it was crazy. Now, this is not just your standard every day, or maybe it is, I don't know. Stop doing that. You're going to make a snarl in your hair. Okay? But originally I did it flat and then for quite a ways, and then I connected it. Dude, I think I knit a lot faster flat. You know, you think you're gonna knit faster in the round, but I think it's just so boring that I'm kind of slow at it. Because when I'm knitting flat, I knit backwards for my purl row. And so I'm always like, do it a little bit faster so I can get to the stockinette row, because that's easy and fun. So I really think I push myself more when I'm knitting stockinette flat to speed-wise. Isn't that crazy? That is so crazy. But if I stop and think about the sweaters that have gone together fast, it's all the ones in flat construction and seamed, or flat raglan. The thing is, I don't want every single raglan to be a cardigan. I want some sweatshirt style raglans. So those have to be in the round. I'm thinking about construction. So you could do a half raglan and a half raglan and seam, but you have a big seam. You'd have a big seam in your arm, in your cap sleeve area. Now, do you want to say hello to the knitter ladies?
Hello, knitted ladies.
Are you telling them that you're on spring break?
I'm on spring break.
All right. So look with your heart first. We will talk to you again before next week.
With your heart first.
Do you know that saying? What does it mean? What does it mean? It means be nice first. It means don't judge people by how you see them. Right? Okay. Talk to you again. Good morning from the Yarn Closet in Tucson, Arizona. I really have to figure out how to do little braids or something. But people, it's like 5 o'clock in the morning, so don't even. And yeah, this is not better yet. That so bugs me. I'm trying to get into the dermatologist. I've had this stupid spot for like 3 years. One doctor said it was like a flat wart and said just get the over-the-counter and freeze it. Yeah, I've done that a couple times. It hasn't changed. It didn't work. I just had a huge icky spot for like 3 weeks. But then every once in a while I bump my head on something or get scratched and it scabs up and it takes longer to heal. But I have stupid insurance. I had stupid insurance last year, and then I didn't have the emotional bandwidth to change it this year because the doctor that I didn't really like, it was her last year, and I just thought, oh, I'm going to be fine. And then the insurance actually changed my doctor. So now I'm going to a doctor that isn't technically my doctor. And so any of her referrals are questionable, and it's just asinine and stupid, and I will reserve the bandwidth and change at the end of this year. Insurance, it is ridiculous. And people, I was an insurance broker. I was this fancy person that used to go around to businesses and sell them insurance packages and have meetings with their employees explaining to them how it all functions. Like, I get the functionality of it. I understand how it works. My dad and his friend finally took my advice a couple years ago and switched policies, and the friend was just over the moon because he saved like over $4,000 the first year. Hello, I know what I'm doing. That still doesn't mean that those companies don't do stupid stuff. Oh my God. Yeah, 5 o'clock in the morning. You know, I love the sound of my children's laughter. Unless it's 5 o'clock in the morning and it wakes me up. But this is a real podcast. It's real life. It's real. And I don't understand why my hair is getting so greasy in my menopausal years. I don't quite understand that. because I don't often wake up with like the nighttime sweats. Oh, look at that. I hardly ever do that. Look, the underside is like darker. It looks almost brown to me right now, and the upper side is like that blondie, whatever. It's just the light, people. It's just the light. So, this is the ongoing, this is the podcast week of the Wilbur. This is the podcast week of the Wilbur. I got to remember that. That's the show title. All right, so remember how I had, see all this? See all this? I had knit up all of this stuff. Remember that? And then decided that the some of the make ones were looking stupid, and I was doing, with my yarn over increases, I was like doing the purl through the back loop business to close them, and that wasn't quite working. Okay, so I decided to cast it on again because I want it to be right. Okay, the weird thing is I'm not totally in love with this yarn. It seemed a little not so minty when I bought it over the internet's screen. Okay, and then the last time I knit it, I swear to God, the gauge was not so thin, not so see-through. But I was doing it flat for a while and then combined it. This one, just right off the bat, I connected it, and I think that's what made me a looser gauge. I mean, but I've knit about the same amount of time, almost sincerely, that got me this much. Stinking nothing, people, nothing. So, okay. Do you see those? So anyway, this time what I did was I did the increases on, well, this is connected immediately. So I did an increase row, and then I did knit through the back loop to close off the yarn overs. And I do really like how it looks. That's not the best one. Because, you know, me and consistency are just not, that one's better. But see, it's too, the gauge is too different. It's too loose, which seems so bizarre to me. So once again, I'm going to rip this all back and start over on a smaller needle, which means I will once again have yarn issues because I won't have quite enough to do what I want to do, and I'm not totally in love with the contrast that I picked out, so I may have to look for another one. I may just have to do a 3-color instead of a 2-color, a 3-color. Do like an actual top section that's light. Maybe it could still be 2-color. I don't know. I gotta see what I have. Because I also don't want to alternate skeins. So I want to do like one skein, an alternating color in the middle to like, because I'm doing no shaping, but to kind of emphasize your waist. And then same color on the bottom, but hand dyed, so you know there'll be slight differences. Pray for no pooling. I don't like pooling. But because this was going so slow, I couldn't figure it out, okay? Is it seriously that when I knit flat that I'm knitting that much faster? Because honestly, people, when I knit flat, yeah, my stockinette row is fast. My knit row is fast. But then purling, I backwards purl, okay? So it's not that fast. I mean, it's much slower. So I just cast on. Remember this yarn that I'm dying to have a sweater in? So I just cast on to do a flat cardigan. About the same amount of time. This is bigger than it looks. It's all bunched up on a 16. when I do things connected, even for sweaters for me, I like to start on a 16 until it gets bigger. I don't understand how it is that I actually am knitting that much faster. I think part of it too is this yarn is just a little bit plumper. They're both sport weights, but this one is plumper. It's more of a DK. The green is Stranded Dye Works' favorite ice cream in sport, and this is Mrs. Crosby's. Likes to play in squid ink. It's gray with these weird pops of purple and green, and they're, you know, kind of like that. Is it a weird iridescent shell look? I don't know. And still, you can still see that there's some light coming through this. This is still not the most dense fabric. Because I live in Tucson. But look at these. What I'm doing is I'm doing my increases on the purl row that I'm backwards knitting, and then on the knit row I knit through the back loop of the yarn overs. Okay, let's try to get one that you can really see. See that? Oh my God, I'm just being ridiculous. See that? Oh, that one's nice. See that? Dude, I am never doing any more make ones. This is what I'm doing for my increases from now on. Because honestly, how stinking easy is that? It looks nice. It looks nice. It's fine. I mean, bad eyesight. I don't really need stitches that are absolutely perfect. I just need them to look not like you got a hole in your sweater. Oh my God, people. So when you yarn over for an increase, on the next round, you just knit through the back loop. Who knew? I didn't know. Who knew? So you're wondering, well, what's the deal with your Willard? Okay. The Willard is designed to be knit in the round, top down raglan, with this kind of cowl collar that there's an I-cord that pulls it tight. I didn't want that part, okay? So I'm going to restart the green one on a smaller needle. I will do it top down. But honestly, I'm in love with this cardigan that I did. I mean, I just started with some stitches that I know will work with this yarn weight and size. I did garter stitch for an inch, maybe a little more than an inch. And dude. So we're gonna see now when I redo the Willard again today on the smaller needles, if the fabric I'm getting as I knit it, if that motivates me to go faster. And maybe I'm going to end up having one in the round going down and one cardigan going down flat, and see kind of alternating, like who gets done faster, like what works for me, what am I less bored with. Because honestly, as slow as I seem to be on the rows that I knit backwards, I like it. It's like this backwards kind of English style weirdness. I like it. So there'll be another day of Willard, maybe a couple. Talk to you soon. Good morning from the Yarn Closet. It's 4 o'clock. Been up since 3:30. Little girl getting up in the bathroom in the middle of the night, so wakes mommy up. Then, you know, we have 2 cats. that live in the children's bedrooms predominantly. So they want to eat. And then Tip came and got me. Yeah, I love you too. Oh, yeah, thank you. Is my nose good? Okay, thank you. Oh, thanks. Yeah, I love you too. Yes, I know. I know. That's my little Chip. Chip's going in for a dental next Tuesday. Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. Because he has the worst breath of all of our dogs. So we alternate between him and Sadie. Because the pit bull doesn't have bad breath. It's these long, skinny, snouted dogs that get bad dental disease and stuff. So yeah, so he's going in on Tuesday. But this is like day 5 of Week of the Willard. And I thought, oh my gosh, have I not showed the picture? So this is the Willard by Alicia Plummer. I am not doing that turtleneck business. I am probably not doing long sleeves because I don't think I'll have enough yarn. Okay? So I had to come up with some different kind of neckline. I will show you that in a moment. Which I may or may not do on the sleeve. I might just do a few rows of ribbing. And a few rows of ribbing at the bottom. I'm kind of planning to do a split hem because I just like those. But here's the deal, people. Do you remember yesterday at 4 o'clock in the morning? Okay, so I cast on again. And look at all the progress I made. Look at all that progress. And look, I love yarn overs knitting through the back loop. I never knew about that. I love it. So this is what I did with the neckline. I cast on, I did 2 rows of stockinette, and then I did 2 garter bumps because there is that garter ridge detail down here, which I do plan on doing. So I thought, well, I'll just mimic that at the neckline. And what I realized is it's not just back and forth versus in the round. I realized I was slow in the round on this at the second go round because I didn't like the fabric. And what I've come to understand is even if I'm consciously not aware of what it is I dislike, I'm not gonna go fast and really enjoy it. And fast is a relative term, people. I mean, I am by no means like some of those people. Yes, I can do an Aran weight sweater in a week that has short sleeves, but this is going to take me longer. I'm just trying to record as I get off the ground with this sweater, because that, to me, is usually the longest part of the process. And then if I really stall out at some point midway, it's probably because I'm just not in love with what's happening, kind of like that polyester sweater that I was doing, that I donated. Remember that? That felt so good. So I did post a picture yesterday, and because I had 2 sweaters going on, I cast on just a simple hat. This is absolutely a simple hat. It is Midas hat inspired by Laura Reinbach. I believe it's a free pattern on Ravelry. So this is a honeybee's knit yarn. She's no longer dying. She's pregnant again, and I think having a difficult pregnancy, so I believe that's why she is taking a break. Second child, I think. Anyway, this is showing up a little bit darker. I mean, yes, it is absolutely dark, but see how there's a little bit more variation. I love these kind of yarns. I don't really like variegated. Like, remember that green, teal, gold that I was going to put with this? Remember that? I was just not in love with it because I'm not in love with the way it's knitting up. It's more like, just, I don't know. You know, acrylic variegated versus like fun hand-dyed, multicolored. Okay. I don't really like that kind of variegated. So I'm making pictures yesterday, and these two happen to be sitting next to each other. Do you see where I'm going, people? Do you see where I'm going? This is a fabulous contrast to this. I only have one skein. I'm about 3 inches into this hat. I'm going to do a purl bump row, and then I'm going to keep knitting. The purl bump row helps you fold it more easily, and it kind of keeps the fold there. I believe in the original Midas hat, the first 3 inches is actually not the full number of stitches that you get in the rest of the hat to give it a little tightness. Okay, I don't like that much tightness. Magnus, go lay down. It's 4 o'clock in the morning. Go lay down. And we already had this weird cat running amok business. It ran right by Magnus because he likes to kind of run after. He's not going to be mean. He just wants to play. But we have one cat that should be on Prozac. So she's just never quite gotten over how much bigger he is. So anyway, I am going to do that. I'm going to do the purl row. I'm going to fold it. I'm going to finish this up. And I think I'll have enough yarn left over to do a few rows after I split for sleeves. But see, I don't think when I split for sleeves that I will have used up this whole first skein, because I only have 2 skeins of this. So I'm going to use up this first skein. Then I'm going to do a chunk in that craziness. Now that is a very different weight, because that is definitely a DK. So the fabric that it's going to make is going to be a little bit heavier. So what I'm going to have to do is reduce a few stitches and go onto a bigger needle. And that'll kind of give me a little bit of shaping. Or just keep the same needle and have like a denser chunk in the middle. Now that's going to pull a little bit and change the drape of the kind of t-shirt style that I'm going after. So, you know, this is going to be an interesting deal. I may scrap that all together and go back to the other one or go to some other yarn. Who knows? Because I got a ways to finish this skein. And before these dogs wake up the rest of the household, I will see you back the next day of Week of the Willard. Hello, people. That would be appreciated. It is the last day of spring break, and spring break has definitely been 24 hours too long. I'm losing it. So do you like my little hat? It was definitely too wide. I should have done 84. I did 96. I could have made it really long, and then you could have folded this hung hem, this doubled over brim, and had like really warm head. But I thought, yeah, no. So I just made it into a Midas inspired cowl because there's a sock head cowl, you know. Stop, please. Stop, please. Those of you who follow me on Instagram, 3 minutes, please, will have seen the hair. All right. So do you see what I'm doing? I'm trying to set up my steek on this. Yeah, this is not going to be Laura gives a tutorial because look at it. Are you picking up on what I'm laying down here, people? It's really dark. I know I'm straight on my crochet line, but I have lost track of like which row I'm supposed to be crocheting because once I got the one side crocheted, it kind of stood up a little bit. Dude. Here's the lesson. I'm just going for it. It's knitting. We rip it out 16 million times half the time anyway. So you'll get to see some end result, at least that. And then maybe a tutorial on one that I can see better. That is today's 2-minute message on the week of the Willard. I have worked a little bit on it today. We are making some progress, but I think I'm like just frustrated. Yesterday I did mostly the cowl because I needed to just get away. But I need to plug at it for a few days to really make some progress. And these last few days of spring break have not been those days. I mean, I really knew that I couldn't have to be able to focus because I have to know when I'm doing my raglan increases and then I'm getting in the right pattern and I'm knitting in the back loop to close those holes because I love that look. That is going to be my forever increase. And that's all I know today. So see you in a few days.